I'd lie to you if I told you that I wasn't very, very excited about this season. I'm a lot like Susie in that I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and assume things are going to go our way and things like that, but there is a lot of excitement. We did a kind of a dress rehearsal scrimmage Saturday night under the lights, just so it wouldn't be the first time that they were under the lights on Friday. There's something different under the lights, whether it's, the ball looks a little bit faster, everything seems to move a little bit quicker, so it was good that we did that. The biggest thing this year that I think we're most excited about as a staff is we have the depth at a lot of the important positions, especially in the circle, in the middle, from a leadership standpoint. We brought in 3 transfers that are going to be huge for us this year. We had a huge freshman class of 8, and there's going to be a number of them that are going to be called on to kind of go through baptism by fire and grow up fast. But there's just, anytime you bring in more athletes, you have more depth at the positions that are really, really important. There's a lot more excitement going into it.
Given that this is now, you're a couple seasons into coaching a Division I program, what have maybe, some things that you've taken away from this? And, you mentioned bringing in transfers and being able to really call this your own program now. What's your general, feeling going into this season for you?
I'm thankful that, the administration was able to let us, that allowed us to kind of make the changes that we needed to. It's tough whenever you come in as a brand new head coach. I'm going into my 3rd season. We did need to make some changes. Just building more of a competitive roster of young ladies who were really, really good in the classroom, but also who expected to be really, really good on the softball field. That's been the biggest thing. We have worked a little bit out of the transfer portal. The kids that we've gotten out of the transfer portal, there's been some type of personal relationship between either myself or somebody on my staff that we knew of there. And then we've had a lot of success from the junior college world. FSW is a national champion almost every year. Robert down there, he just beats everybody. And he builds a program of athletes that expect to win. And, Rebecca Laudino, the last 2 years was huge for us. She came from that program. Laura Vigna, originally from Italy. She's going to be huge for us out of that program. And then the freshmen that we brought in, this class was really the first class that we had enough time to truly get to know. Their family, what type of kid they were, what program they came from, and that kind of stuff. So that's one of the reasons why it was one of the biggest classes, probably the biggest class we will ever bring in.
Yeah, given your background in JUCO ball, like you mentioned there, what is the value of the junior college experience and getting, the diamonds in the rough and finding the really good players out there, and especially in your experience, at that level?
Yeah, I say it all the time. I'm extremely thankful that I had the opportunity to play at UF, but I am equally as thankful that I had the opportunity to coach at Santa Fe, because I do think that it is something that's overlooked, especially in the state of Florida. It's really good softball. It's high level softball. And what we found with these junior college transfers, a lot of times they still have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They understand that maybe the timing wasn't right whenever they graduated high school to end up at the school that they wanted, so they're still working really, really hard, whether it's academically or athletically, to get to that final resting place. And a lot of them go D1, especially from a championship standpoint.
Mm-hmm. And to your point about building the program here, you keep Rebecca around as a grad assistant. How excited were you to be able to keep her around?
Listen, we've been able to watch that. I say kid, and she's not a kid, but we've been able to watch her grow up and to see somebody that wanted to stay around the program is huge. It lets us know it's a small tidbit that lets us know we're probably doing more things right than we're not doing things right. But she's been huge. She's been instrumental in working with our lefty slappers. She had to face the outfield her first year, and she's naturally an infielder. She works with with Kara in the infield a lot. She works with me in the outfield a lot, but she has been instrumental in having that extra hand, that extra set of eyes that the girls respect. You know, I mean, they've done a really good job of drawing the line. She's no longer a teammate to some of them. She's an extension of the coaching staff, and she's handled it wonderfully, and so have the team.
With Grace receiving the preseason Pitcher of the Year honors, how excited was she about that, and how excited are you to have that player?
It is exciting. You know, I whenever we got the heads up from Todd that she was going to be named to the preseason Pitcher of the Year and be first team, Courtney, my pitching coach, said, "Hey, can I give her a heads up?" I'm like, "Yeah, you probably should give her a heads up because we don't want her to freak out." You know, I told her this. It's not anything that's putting additional pressure on you. It's a pat on the back for what she did last year. You know, what she did last year, she worked her tail off in the circle last year. And I want to say that whenever I went back through, there were 14 games that we lost in the 6th or the 7th, where she had thrown well enough to win the ball game. And we just either didn't make the play or we didn't get the hit or things like that. So I know she's really excited. I know she naturally puts a lot of pressure on herself, but she's going to be huge for us because she has an expectation to win. There's not really anybody that wants to win any more than her, and she's done a really good job as a leader that when it's hers, she's great at it, but when somebody else's name is called and somebody else has the ball, she's also really good at being able to lead, you know, from off the field as well.
And the last thing for me, I know softball's a long season, a lot of games. Coach Gardner's talked about this before, and you know the process of being able to figure things out in the first couple of weeks of the season. You know, what do you like about your schedule and you know your team just being able to get going?
I think I told my staff I think this is probably the most balanced schedule I've put together. I was a bit nuts last year in the schedule that I put together. I mean, we played, I think in 1 week, I think we played number 10, number 3, and number 5. And it was spring break, so it was a heck of a spring break for the girls. But I will say the Power Fives have not gone away, but we've done a better job of putting together a more balanced schedule. You know, I do wholeheartedly believe that the young ladies that come to our program, they want to play on the big stage. They want to play Georgia. They want to play Florida. I want to beat Florida. Like all of those things, they want to do that. So those kind of games are not going to go away, but it is important that for us to put together a slightly better schedule to be a little bit nicer during spring break. I do think spring break is still going to be a little bit tough this year. It just happens to fall on that day.
Good deal.
Lindsay, you got a lot of pitchers on your roster this year, which is a luxury you haven't coached, but among those, your number ones from each of the last few seasons, what kind of competition have you seen from your pitchers going in, especially your 2 aces the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, Hannah Pitts and Grace Taylor are probably 2 of the most competitive individuals I've ever been around. So for them to be in the same bullpen and them to have built the respect for each other over the last 2 years, you know, Hannah was out with injury last year, so Grace had to tote the load. Hannah had to do the same thing her first year, so they've both been in different seasons. It will be new territory for us to have both of them at the same time and them learning what those roles are. But you also have Katie Rearley that has come back. She threw a number of innings for us last year. We fully anticipate Maddie Wicker to be a part of that mix. And then we also have 3 very talented freshmen that are going to help us. You know, like Connor was saying earlier, it is a 56-game rule for a season, and we've got midweeks, and midweeks are just as important as weekends, and it's important that we're able to put together the right combination, both in our circle and from a roster standpoint, to make sure we're ready for conference play.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks.